Today on the CTV News at 5, Alberta Health Services cuts costs in response to a budget shortfall. Plus, changes to patient transfers. And the LCI Rams hit the hard court for provincial high school basketball crown.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Some big changes are coming to Alberta's healthcare. The Alberta Health System Services says it is taking immediate steps to reduce costs at the administration level while redirecting dollars to high priority areas. The AHS board has been meeting in Lethbridge and today revealed how it plans to deliver better services with less money than originally expected from the Alberta government in the recent budget. Among the immediate steps, a 3-year compensation freeze for 10,000 management, out-of-scope employees and physician leaders. There's also a hiring freeze for all non-critical administration positions. At the same time, AHS says it will hire more nurses and doctors in priority areas and invest more in primary and community care. Terry Boat reports.
Alberta Health Services says it knows the direction it needs to go and says there's no need to wait until the budget is approved before moving forward.
We don't look at it as 1.5% less. We look at it as a 3% increase. So it's all in the eyes of the beholder.
AHS Chair Stephen Lockwood says the goal is to get better quality and better value for dollars spent on health care. The plan calls for more community-focused service delivery, with local leaders having more authority. It also calls for saving $35 million over the next 3 years by reorganizing management, freezing compensation for 10,000 top-level staff, and a hiring freeze for all administration positions not considered to be mission-critical.
And we have a significant amount of duplication. I think it's pretty obvious to anyone who's had a business interaction with Alberta Health Services that it's a complex system. So I think there's, a lot of savings that can be made on the administrative side, and I'm also certain that that will improve the satisfaction that people have with the services we deliver.
Essentially what the government has done is boxed AHS in.
Friends of Medicare says it's concerned the 3% increase in provincial funding won't be enough to maintain current services, considering the AHS will soon be starting contract negotiations with nurses. But they're also concerned about broken promises when it comes to long-term care.
The expansion of long-term care is not something that we saw in the budget. It's not something that AHS is going to be able to do.
While critics may not agree, the Alberta Health Services Board says the upcoming budget shouldn't have any impact on employee safety or quality of care.
I think it's a reprofiling of how we deliver care. I don't expect the overall numbers of frontline workers to change very much in this. Where they're working may change substantially over the next 3 years, but the numbers should not.
Alberta Health Services says today's announcement was simply setting the stage, that more details will be announced in the months ahead. Terry Boat, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Now, Friends of Medicare is holding a public meeting tonight in Lethbridge to discuss their concerns with last week's provincial budget. The meeting gets underway 7 o'clock at the Galt Museum. And the cuts are already creating quite a buzz. These comments were posted on our CTV Lethbridge Facebook page. Sheila says, I would love to see a salary rollback on MLAs, and other travel by air should then be by coach, not the more expensive business class. Megan wrote, what I don't understand is why we continue to make cuts to services that are incredibly important to us, but we continue to pay over $300,000 a year to the people that are telling us to make these cuts that are required. And Logan added, if you can save $10 million a year by not hiring and traveling alone, doesn't that say something? Speaking of budgets, Federal Finance Minister Jim Flaherty says restraints will be the theme when the federal budget is released next Thursday.
But one of the primary concerns is balancing budgets, reducing deficits and so on, which is dear to my heart.
Flaherty made the announcement after accepting a suggested budget prepared by students at a Toronto area high school today. Given the economy, it's unlikely the real budget will have any goodies. Analysts expect a stay-the-course document aimed at keeping the government on track to a balanced budget by 2015. It comes at a slower than expected economic growth. Okay, Dory Rossiter, talk to us about this fog weather warning. We know it's reducing visibility down to 100 meters in some places and creating slippery conditions too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I've been hearing from viewers that are using their cell phones and iPods and things to let us know what the situations are in their areas, and that's very, very helpful. And so we heard from Buzz, who was saying that it extends now all the way into Shelby, Montana, which we hadn't heard about that location for the thick fog and the freezing rain, but that is one area now. And the freezing rain has now extended into the Medicine Hat area, so it is spreading this whole dense fog situation and the freezing rain conditions. And we'll talk more about it in a couple of minutes.
All right, thanks, Dory. Well, the Alert Task Force has made another dent in the war on drugs in the city, this time an investigation on a group believed to be transporting drugs between Calgary and Lethbridge. Police conducted a traffic stop on Tuesday where they were able to seize crack cocaine and powder cocaine with an estimated street value of $54,000. 42-year-old Roger Krushel and 19-year-old Caleb Van, both from Lethbridge, face possession for the purpose of trafficking charges. They've been remanded in custody and will appear in court later this week. Kimberley RCMP have now released the name of the victim of a murder in Marysville. Kimberley RCMP says that 47-year-old Jordan Leonard Lesmond was found dead inside a home in Marysville on Friday, March the 8th. The death was believed to be suspicious, prompting investigators from the Southeast District Major Crimes Unit to be brought in to help. The victim's live-in girlfriend, Claudia DeSampico, was charged with the death just within days. She has since appeared in court and will remain in custody until a bail hearing can be arranged in BC Supreme Court. Well, you can call it a 24-hour roadside suspension for your cell phone. BC police are asking for a powerful new option to crack down on distracted drivers. Amanda Anderson looks at whether the same request could be made here in Alberta.
When Alberta's distracted driving law took effect in 2011, it was considered one of the toughest in Canada. Talking on your cell, texting, eating, or applying makeup, all considered distractions, worthy of a $172 fine. Scott Pyle considered himself one of the worst offenders until a close friend was killed in an accident.
When they found his phone, it was halfway through a text and it was laying on the floor, so that's how they determined that's what happened.
Now the BC Chiefs of Police Association want to take their law a step further by having power to seize an offender's cell phone.
Not a bad idea. I still see people texting, talking on the phone while driving here in this city.
It is kind of like elementary school, and you shouldn't have to do that because everybody's adults that are driving.
BC police want to seize the phone on the spot, with a distracted driver having to wait 24 hours before picking it up at detachment.
If they still don't get it, then the seizures would simply increase up to 5 days or permanently.
Edmonton's Police Association President Tony Simeone welcomes new ideas to tackle distracted driving, but isn't sure taking away someone's cell phone will work.
I think the practicality of seizing a cell phone and expecting that particular person is not going to have access to another one may be a problem.
BC lawmakers will also be asked that the current $167 fine be raised substantially.
I don't necessarily think there's any amount of punishment that's really going to stop people from talking on their phones. You could charge people $300 for a speeding ticket, but they're still going to speed if they're late.
Pyle believes driver behavior won't change until they realize the true cost of distracted driving.
It happens really quick and it can happen to anybody.
Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Alberta Health Services is changing the way it transfers patients to free up more ambulances for emergency calls. The South Zone has 4 specially equipped minivans to transfer stable patients between healthcare facilities. Until now, they've been using ambulances for the scheduled low-risk transfers. The vans are expected to make as many as 2,200 trips a year. AHS officials say these vehicles will help alleviate the demand on ambulances in situations where they're not really needed.
In the past, we've taken patients to facilities or doctor's appointments that, very much could use just a car or a ride, right? And they're inpatient patients, so we need to get them to their appointments, but very much overkill.
2 vans are based in Raymond and have been operating since January. The other 2 are in Brooks and were put into service this month. A Lethbridge man and his sister are vying for a spot on the Amazing Race Canada, and they're hoping the experience can bring them closer together. Dave Olson and his sister Coralie are among the hundreds of Canadians who submitted audition videos to producers of the reality TV show. Olson says he and his sister leaned on each other at a young age as their parents went through a divorce, but they've grown apart as time has gone on, and they hope this challenge can reunite them.
This is our opportunity, even though we live in the same province. I mean, you know, as time goes on, life is busy. You know, we haven't been able to have that closeness that we had, you know, when we were younger. You know, family events, all that kind of stuff. We always see each other, but you know, we just think this would be a great adventure for the both of us.
Olson and other show hopefuls are now waiting word from the show's producers. It's set to begin filming in mid-April. With spring just around the corner, it's the time of year for the Home and Garden Show. The popular annual event is underway at Lethbridge Exhibition Park. Over 350 exhibitors are on hand. You can check out demonstrations on decorating, landscaping, even cooking. Many of those involved are hoping the recent warm weather will get people thinking about their gardens, yards, and home improvement projects. Exhibitors say, though, colder temperatures today were great for business.
It's busy today. Like, there's a lot of people here today, so it's good for the business, and then everybody's kind of getting around, and it's fun. You get to walk around, you get to see people, you get to eat cool things, you get to try things, win things. So it's a good day.
The show continues until 9 o'clock tonight, and speaking about that cooler weather, Dory's going to tell us just how long it's going to last when we come back. First, though, here are the markets.